Hi, I'm Gwen Preston of Resource Maven. I'm here at the Metals Investor Forum conference in Vancouver in the middle of September, and I'm here with Jim Pettit of Aben Resources. Aben's a stock that caught my attention a few months ago, just as Jim and his team were really getting the story going in a public way. This is something that you'd been working on in a public company, but grinding away at for a while, and you were just sort of ready to show what you had to the world. So give us a bit of a background of what's going on.
Sure. It was over a year ago. We assembled the ground up in the Golden Triangle. It was 3 other properties, all contiguous, that covered the whole Kerr Fault. It was Tim Tremundy and Ron Netolinsky that helped us do that, and then we accumulated all the information and created a data compilation. I mean, if you're going to do something like that, get land that has as much information available to you as possible. And it took 8 months.
To bring it all together?
To put it all together on one GIS, big system.
Right.
And then we're sitting down with the advisors we have, Henry Omack, Mike Roberts, Ron, Tim, Cornell, who put it all together. And they do prioritizing of target selections. And with the amount of targets, you were looking at easily, we could be there for 5 years. If we never find anything, we'd be there for 5 years.
Just
right?
Sequentially testing.
Yeah, so we're starting out this year with a reasonable program on something that we think is a high probability of success because of the holes that were drilled there years and years ago. The Carcass Creek, that particular hole was drilled by Kiska, so it's only about 10 years old. And then the other hole was on the Boundary, where we've done most of the drilling because it's a really good place to work. I think it was drilled by Noranda.
Right.
They drilled into a structure, and then the other 2 flanking holes missed it because they drilled with the structure, right? Instead of across.
Yeah.
So Cornell and Rohana was structural geo, spent a long time up there, and they got it all figured out, created some new soil anomalies across this whole structure. And so that became a very primary drill target, and we wanted to figure out the extension of the mineralization, if there is any, and if there is, how big is it? And that's basically what we've accomplished so far. It looks like it could be 350 meters.
Okay.
Rather than a pinpoint with a very high grade intersection. So,
I mean, one thing that I think is really interesting with the story in terms of the industry in general as a larger thing is you're talking about bringing together these properties that have had a lot of work. There's been 100 holes, there's been a lot of soil sampling, there's been a lot of work. But the mining industry is plagued, if you want to say, with cycles.
Yeah.
And so, and it's also with companies who go into an area looking for one thing, and if they find something else, they might not be aware, they might not pay any attention to it because it wasn't the thing they were looking for. So that's been what's gone on here. Kiska's hole happened just as the industry turned down, and therefore it got forgotten. Noranda was looking for other things when it was there predominantly.
Well, they were drilling on a regional basis. These big companies will come into an area that's new to them, and they'll drill kilometer spacings or half-kilometer spacings. Well, back then they didn't know what a kilometer was, but you know what I mean. Right, and they would just keep going because they were looking specifically for an SK-style deposit, a VMS. And since that time, Pretium's come onto the scene, which is different. It's structurally controlled.
Exactly.
But hydrothermal, big time veining. So that's a whole different way to look, and basically. It's the geologic formations that you're looking for, and on the west side of our property, on the west side of the fault, the Kerr Fault, is where you find that, and it's very apparent. We know we're in the, you want to be in the Stuhini, Hazelton, that sort of
formation,
thing. And and to most people that doesn't mean anything. It's just the right layer. That's what it is.
And I mean, in terms of timing and cycles, Aben is well positioned. Broad picture market-wise, we're at a good spot early in the cycle, and the region that you're in, the Golden Triangle, investors are really attuned because of Pretium's success, because of more recently GT's success, and several other companies that are having really good results. And there's all this new access into the area. the region is getting a lot of attention. So the timing is all sort of right.
It's all right. The infrastructure has improved dramatically, driving down costs. But it's an area that gets the attention and the dream of a lot of investors because it's elephant country. There isn't a place in the world that has this concentration of such high-grade potential deposits, developing deposits, and deposits. It's spectacular. And even the ones at this Seabridge, and they're huge.
Immense.
Huge.
Yeah.
And Galore Creek, just because of its location, may sit there for a long, long time, but it's huge. And it's really high grade. And Tim and Ron sold Copper Canyon right by Galore Creek. That's a really big high grade deposit as well.
Yeah.
So there's lots to be discovered, and now we've got guys looking at nickel.
Right.
Like, holy cow, that's right beside us. We're looking for gold.
Right. Yeah.
But it has captured the attention of the market. They love an area play. The Canadian market loves an area play. There's a big one in Quebec, and now there's a big one out here. Hundreds of thousands of dollars being spent on exploration on each one, and it's just good to see. It will be another discovery that's going to bring this market back, and I think we know who that potentially is.
Right.
They're setting the bar a little high for the rest of us, but it's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
And for you guys, the money that you're spending hasn't yet produced results. So you've been drilling.
Oh, no.
Your first assays went in a month ago. Assay turnaround times are very slow because so many companies are doing work up there. But right now, everyone's just sort of holding their breath and wondering, right?
Well, the industry in general had a big downturn, so the assay labs basically were shutting down
laid everyone off.
Their prep labs.
Yeah.
Where everything goes to in certain regions, and then it gets sent off to the central assay labs. And that lab in Kitimat, just south of the Golden Triangle, when I dropped some samples off there as I was coming back to Vancouver, the backyard, the stockyard, mountains of them, and I walked over to have a look, and I wanted to see, okay, there's maybe pretiums and there's GT. I want to see how much stuff there is in here. And I'm looking at these bags, and they're from Quebec.
Oh my God.
They're coming from Quebec to get prepped.
Kitimat.
To get prepped, because Kamloops is full, and you've got Barkerville jamming up Kamloops probably, or whatever. It's really funny to see. They will adjust and open up more prep labs, but then everything funnels back to the Vancouver lab, the Reno lab, or whatever the one in the east is. But that's just the nature of the beast.
And so you're waiting.
We're waiting. It's a month today that we send in the first. We could be receiving results through to the end of October.
Absolutely. And the market is pretty excited about what that might be.
Yeah.
Part of it is that just sort of a news story coming out the gate, getting recognition, being in the right area, so revaluing to be in line with your peers, and then there's the potential for the exploration to work.
Well, like what we're seeing right now is that revaluing of market caps, like why are they this when we're not, and everything. And we were at the bottom really
because you hadn't told your story yet.
I had been marketing for about a year and just not hardcore steady marketing, but I'd go to Europe and I'd go down to the States and I'd go back to Toronto and just keep everybody's minds fresh with what we're going to do. And everything's unfolded exactly as I said it would. And it's making a lot of these investors, like at the end of the day, really happy.
Right.
Because they've waited a long time from last winter to now.
Yeah. Well, now they're getting rewarded.
And now there's some reward happening, and we're getting pretty much all the warrants probably are coming down. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, why not at these prices? Because most of them are 10 cent, 10 to 7.5, 10, maybe 15 even.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, best of luck. I hope those assays show up. I'm not holding my breath, but I'm excited.
Yeah, well, it's good to be excited about, but it is what it is.
Absolutely.
But irregardless, that area is not finished. And our area we're working in is not finished.
There's a lot of targets, and this is just the very first pass program testing 2 of the list. Yeah, for sure.
And I did present to the people today that we do have other projects. So
this is true.
We have a winter project lined up already, drill ready, it's ready to go. Nobody's paying attention because of the golden triangle. But,
yes.
Yeah.
But that's good. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming in today.
Great. I love it here.